how important, let's start with the basic though, how important would you say your nutrients in your diet is when you're working out and for your health?
It's everything, really. A lot of people get the working out part right and they don't see results. The nutrition and the sleep is it's a slept on part of the whole picture. It really brings everything together. If you're not sleeping enough and you're stressed, you're not going to get results. If you're not eating enough or you're not eating the right things, then you're definitely not going to reach your goals.
Now listen to me. I don't care if you're sick. I don't care what you're going through. If you're not dead, he ain't through with you yet.
This here is for you guys, the movers and the shakers, the motivated and creators, the big thinkers, the big dreamers, the outliers, the one pushing the needle forward, the students of the game and the ones making their lanes, the ones that get things done and know everything is one. Welcome to your pod, the Everything is Everything podcast. Let's go!
Can't ignore it, this my story, I've been more than ready. And this stuff I'm cooking up is like culinary. True intentions, must I mention it?
Season 2.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Everything is Everything podcast with a new episode. Today we have a very special guest. My personal trainer, Giovanni Encalada, is going to be giving us some cool tools and talking a little bit about health, about working out, about fitness, the importance of it, and giving me some tips and tricks so that I can get myself back where I need to be. So Giovanni, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for joining, man.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, man, I got a few questions for you, but first I want to start with just you saying a little bit about who you are and kind of what got you into fitness. What kind of got you started on this journey of like working out, getting in shape?
It honestly started with heartbreak and a little bit of depression, which I think
all right.
I think that's the cause for a lot of people. But yeah, that's how it began, and then it kind of evolved over time. My goals changed, and then it just kept snowballing from there.
So kind of like being in depression or being a little bit down, you kind of wanted something to get you right in the right mood. So you were like, let me just get my body active. That's actually a big deal. I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Motion is a big, like, I forget how the saying goes. I'm going to kill it, but it's like motion. It's emotion in motion or something like that.
Energy in motion.
There you go.
Energy in motion. Yeah. So for me, I was just trying to focus my mind on something other than the racing and the turmoil that was going on. So I used it as a way to quiet my mind and kind of get control of it again,
Got it. Okay.
So that was the main thing in the beginning.
That's funny because similar thing that got me into working out. I was like, I used to work out just to work out, but like definitely when I'm in funks, I always see that one of the best things to do is work out because you exert your body.
Yep.
And it completely takes your mind off of whatever was on your mind. Like if you're running, you're not going to be able to be thinking about whatever you were thinking about 20 minutes into that run.
Exactly.
You're going to be just thinking about breathing through your nose.
Yeah, exactly. And even, to take it a little further, if you have a song in your headphones, right, that completely relates to what you're going through and you're working out, it kind of pushes you even further because you have someone that relates. Number one, you're not alone. And then number two, it's giving you that boost you need to go further.
Nice.
So I like to pair the two.
So energy and motion, in motion is kind of what got you into working out. Then you took it really seriously. I mean, I was there throughout the whole time, so I know you like started working out like regular high school working out stuff, but then you got into like a mode of like really working out where it was like it's a lifestyle really for you. Like at what point did it become that lifestyle that you were like, what was it that made it like a lifestyle for you?
I would say, let me think. I mean, there's a few reasons how it got that way. One was it's sort of became an addiction, right? So I turned my addiction for sadness, which is kind of crazy. I feel like sometimes we end up getting tied to our sadness and like having a hard time letting go of it.
Hmm.
So I took that addiction and I took it over here.
Okay.
And it was an addiction at first. I would work out twice a day, which is not a good idea at all. And I was doing that a lot in the beginning. I was really overtraining because it was more of like, let me just get my mind right.
It was
Yeah,
just an outlet.
it was an outlet, 100%. I was letting off steam in ways that I couldn't express with my voice, so I was expressing with my body. Then once I started getting into the swing of things, I started getting stronger. Now I can express my body even more freely. So I'm gaining strength, which is really just more control. Now I have more control over my body. I'm getting into handstands. And then now this is my form of expression, even dancing more, things along those lines.
Just getting physical. Do you feel like I do feel like there's a big correlation in confidence booster. A
Yes.
confidence boost that happens when you actually start training, working out.
Yes.
You feel like that was a big part of like you were going through your emotions, you were kind of sad, and like you said, like it became an addiction. But did you think you became more addicted because it was like, oh, I like this feeling?
Yeah. Because
Like,
what's the downside, really? There's
right.
there's no downside. I think you're pushing yourself beyond your limits, and then you realize that you're capable of so much more, which ties into the confidence aspect. Now you're
Right.
like, oh, I'm capable. You know what I mean? And then you're like, and once that switch happens in your brain, you kind of exude that everywhere you go. You know?
Like how far can I take this? Right?
Yeah,
It's a big
yeah.
part of it.
And then also it's like you realize that the limits that you put for yourself can be broken.
Right. Are just that limits that you placed on yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome because that correlates into a lot of what we talk about, like on this podcast with all the guests that we've had. Is just like the limiting belief. Like
Yeah.
a lot of our hurdles come way more from our own limiting beliefs. And
Yes.
yeah, fitness is definitely, I mean, that's the reason I wanted to have you on is that's the one consistent thread I think throughout all the guests that I've had on so far. Because they've all mainly been like business, entrepreneur, or like real estate.
Yeah.
Almost all have started with, yeah, I work out in the morning, or fitness is in at some point in that day to
Yeah.
get energy needed to do whatever they're looking to do.
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I was like, it's gonna be so important to have you on and just to talk about the importance of like what you're saying, how energy is energy in motion,
Yeah.
and how it affects us in such a big way. What
Yeah.
so we touched a little bit on this. So like, what do you feel are some of the biggest mental benefits that you get when you have a routine of working out consistently?
So I mean, we can go really deep with that, and we can when you're healthier, you're lowering your heart rate, your resting heart rate. So then overall, you're just more calm. That's my experience. And then on top of that, you're also regulating your breathing, and obviously your breath and your heart, they're both connected.
Hmm.
So when you slow both of those things down, you have they're directly related to the thoughts in your mind. So that's why also in meditation, you're focusing on your breath, you're slowing it down, you can even count in 4 seconds, hold, like that kind of thing.
Yep.
And I mean, we also touched upon the confidence aspect. That's a big one. That really does do a lot for a lot of people. And also just relieving aches and pains. People underestimate how much little aches and pains takes a toll on your mental throughout the day. You know what I mean? Like if my back hurts, I'm not going to be in the best mood. Or, I mean, this has nothing to do with fitness, but like a toothache, you're not in the best mood. It
You don't
influences.
even feel as confident. Like I told you about my
Yeah.
bum shoulder.
Yes.
I hate it. It takes away from like my usual walking around. Like I feel so sure. Like yeah, I can grab that. I can do this. Right now, I'm very
Yeah.
delicate. Like wait, let me make sure that I grab this appropriate. Let me.
Yep.
I feel like a little old. I'm like, ugh. But yeah, when your body's aching,
Yeah. It seeps into other areas of life.
right?
Definitely.
I mean, and of course, like mine is actually an injury from working out, so I got to be a little careful when working out.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that have undeveloped muscle that they have just not, it's aching because you've never used it,
Yep.
right?
100%. And that's another misconception that I encounter a lot, is that people think it's aching because you have to stretch it.
Right,
Sometimes that is the case, but a lot of times it's that you just need to awaken something that's been sleeping for a long time,
right.
for too long, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, and dealing with professionals to know the difference, because like I kept pushing my arm and that's why I think I injured it. But yeah.
Yeah.
What do you prioritize when designing workouts? Like, what do you feel is the most important thing that people should work on? Like, if you had to just pick a few muscles to have the full body kind of in order, what would those be?
All right. So I would start with aligning myself, right? That's the first thing. So if we sit a lot in our day-to-day lives, I'm gonna start working on my glutes and my core to get back to more of a straight line rather than the slight arch in your back. That's number one. I see that with everybody. Even really fit people have that issue because we're sitting so much. So I would start there, fixing the hips, uh, strengthening the glutes and the core. Then I would,
Sorry, that's lower back. So that's all lower back stuff. A little bit of everything.
yeah. So I mean, something like a glute bridge, something like a hip thrust.
Okay.
That's it's going to get your lower back. It's going to get your core. It's going to get your glutes. So yeah, this area, the hip area.
That's a big part for aligning.
Yes, yes. So I want to be as tall as I can be, and I feel like life kind of makes the shoulders round and come
Yep.
down, the head come down. So
Yep.
that's the next order of business would be that, where you're opening your T-spine and
Let me do it
you're
like this.
also bringing your neck back, because nowadays we're always on the phone, we're on the laptop, we're sitting down again, and we end up doing this without even realizing.
Mm.
So you want to align those two things. You want to really prioritize your ankles as well, because it just moves up the chain. The whole chain is connected. And if your ankles are weak, if they're inactive in certain ranges of motion, that's gonna go up the chain towards your hips, and then the knees get influenced as well because they're between the ankles and the hips. And then if you have, most people that I work with, if they have an issue on the hips on the left side, their shoulders are also messed up on the left side. So it just goes all the way up. You really want to work on just getting that alignment right first.
I feel attacked. I feel attacked and judged right now is what I feel. To be honest with you. I feel
Why?
no, I literally feel all those things you mentioned because my left side is what's messed up on my shoulder, and
Yeah,
I know my hips are tighter on my left side
yeah.
because I do yoga
Hmm.
occasionally, probably not as thoroughly as I should, but when
Yeah,
I have, I'm definitely more tight on the left side. So
yeah.
just for you to say that is like, oh, like made the light bulb go off. Like, oh, that's yeah, for sure.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Yeah,
No,
no,
yeah.
very common nowadays, these things.
So
For
are those stretches or are those workouts? What are we doing for those the things we just spoke about? Are those mainly stretches or are those working like certain workouts?
That's a good question. I'm gonna say I want to get, so there's a lot. It's very important that you do things correctly, right? That is number one. So you want to fully understand the movement,
Okay.
and the best way to do that is just to do it with your body, right? So you don't want to add any weight until you understand that movement and its mechanics. So
Okay.
if I'm getting started with the hips, I'm going to do a glute bridge, a hip thrust.
Okay.
That so this is on the way down, it's stretching your glute.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be stretching. You have to stay active the whole way through, though. I think a lot of people tend to relax on the way down. You're locked in, and your core is engaged, and you're slowly going down so that you can really get the full benefit of the movement.
Okay.
So that's going to be strengthening. It's not going to be much of a stretch as people would think.
Got it. Because it's more of a like it's a stretch and hold. It's like you gotta hold it.
Have you ever done a glute bridge before?
I
I
feel like
think you have.
I feel like I've done it with you. Yeah.
Yeah, we've done it.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a stretch,
Okay.
but if you want to pair that with a stretch, you can stretch the hip flexors, the front of the hip, and then that would go great together, those two.
Because you're tightening, so it's not really a stretch because you're tightening the muscle while you're doing it, right?
For the glute bridge, yes. So you're tightening the glutes there. And the higher you go, the more it'll stretch the hip flexors.
And the higher you're capable of going.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of the times you'll be restricted from even going to like horizontal to the floor.
And I know this is like, so these are things that you got into, obviously, not at the beginning. We're talking now high level. These are, I know that it's like the basic fundamental to get your body right, but I
Yeah.
do feel like this is high level stuff we're talking about. This is not push ups, pull ups. This is like, oh, you want to feel your body aligned and feel your body right. These are the things. How much time does someone have to put into these things before they're actually seeing results? Or how consistent should they be doing those alignment workouts?
What was that last part? I'm sorry.
How consistent should they be doing them? Like,
Oh, okay. So I would say the priority would be first to just be doing realignment work. So I would say even 1 to 2 months alone dedicated on that,
okay.
getting into the right position and correcting the issues that you have, then working on your and I mean not then, at the same time working on your stability.
Okay.
So realignment and stability first. 1 to 2 months dedicated to that.
And you're gonna start feeling those in 2 months. You'll definitely start feeling the difference.
100%. And then once you notice those differences, you'll be able to do the exercises that you want to do, the fun ones, correctly.
Nice. Okay.
You know?
That's probably why I hurt myself. Probably just go jumping straight into military push-ups wasn't a good.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I mean,
Definitely when I took it.
yeah. I mean, and if you think about your shoulder and your hip, right? There you're supposed to be moving you have a lot of range there. So if you're only going here,
Yeah.
your body's going to be like, hey, I want to go this way too. I need to go this way. I need to pull this way and push this way. So I think it's very important to get all angles. Angles are very important as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just incorporating a lot into there.
Yep.
All right. Do you have like one quick well, you gave actually an example for the alignment.
Mm-hmm.
So you gave the what did you call it? The thrust the glute thrust, I think it was.
Oh yeah, the hip thrust.
A hip thrust. Okay. And that do you have any other like for someone who says like, oh, I don't got no time, right? We're just thinking for like the general people, oh, always I don't have no time. What's something that people could do just to align their bodies? Let's say that probably would only take 10, 15 minutes of their day.
10, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
You do a plank. You
Okay.
could do where? You could do a glute bridge anywhere. There's one called an open book. Not most people won't really know what that is.
Okay.
Where you're laying on the floor, you're on your side, and you just open all the way to the other side, back and forth. It's a stretch, and it also kind of strengthens the rear delts.
You're laying down on the floor doing that?
So I would be laying on my side. I would be on my right side here on the floor.
Okay.
I'll act like this bench is the floor.
Yeah.
And my legs are also on this side, right? Yeah. And then I'm opening here.
Oh, and are you opening legs as well while you do that, or just the top of your body?
Just the top half.
Got it. So your legs are staying down, and then you're twisting right here.
Yep. So if you have 15 minutes, that one, the glute bridge and the plank are gonna do you some justice, definitely.
Got it. Those would be good in those 2 months for you to feel a difference in your body if you're able to do.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if you don't have any equipment, if you want to do a reverse plank, also where your hands are behind you and then your hips go up, and you're kind of at an angle there, that's another good to correct the issues with the posterior chain, the whole back of your body. So you get your shoulder.
That's like laying back, like.
Yes, yes. So
Okay, nice.
that's going to bring your shoulders back into the right spot, and then your hips, you're going to have to use your glutes to keep the hips high. So that's also gonna do a lot.
Those
That
might be.
one movement, huh?
So I don't see the doctor. Those are the three I'm going to be working on. Just to.
Yeah. No, I do these every workout.
That's how kind of how you start off your workout.
That's how I warm up. Yeah,
Nice.
because I want to, you know, I went to a chiropractor one time, and they tell you like, oh, there's a slight. It's hard to stay completely symmetrical all the time because we're living life. We have some days I have to sit more than others, but
Right.
I would say that's like a baseline for every day that you can do that would help you realign.
I like it. I like it. So let's get a little bit into nutrition. I know that
Okay.
it go hand in hand. They're
Yeah,
super important. I know that you've dealt a lot with different nutrition, different diets and things like that.
yeah.
How important, let's start with the basic though. How important would you say your nutrients in your diet is when
Oof.
you're working out and for your health?
It's it's everything really. I think a lot of people get the working out part right and they don't see results. The nutrition and the sleep is a big, it's a slept on part of the whole picture, it really brings everything together. If you're not sleeping enough and you're stressed, you're not going to get results. If you're not eating enough, or you're not eating the right things, then you're definitely not going to reach your goals. They say you are what you eat, and that's 100% true. You're not even going to have the energy to work out if you're not eating the right things.
Mm.
You're not going to have and you're also, it influences the quality of your thoughts. The food really heavily influences the quality of your thoughts. If you're eating something that makes you feel sluggish, the emotion is followed by thoughts that relate to that emotion. So you're feeling sluggish, right? You're feeling slow. Now your mind is like, ugh, you know? It's the
Yep.
same, it just follows.
You are
So,
right. I like that.
yeah, the food is everything. Food is everything.
What are some of the sleep? Well, let's touch on sleep because you brought that up, and that is so important. I love that you
Yeah.
brought that up.
Yeah.
What do you feel are best sleeping patterns? I mean, I know like I look again, these are all things that in almost every pod gets touched on. Sleep is a big, big, big one. Like what do you feel is like best routines for sleep in the sense of like or time frames?
So I avoid taking naps because it usually messes with my sleeping pattern. I won't be able to sleep that if I took a nap earlier, I won't be able to sleep that night.
Hmm.
And I'll fall asleep at like 3, and then it messes it up for the week or the next 2 days.
Right.
So that's number 1. I try not to take a nap. Number 2, I mean, I know the world is kind of crazy right now, but I feel like 11 o'clock is the latest, maybe 12.
Gotcha.
Especially if I have to wake up. I want to get 8 hours minimum.
8 hours is so 8 hours is what you're shooting for.
Yeah, 8 hours is solid. The healthier you are, though, if you don't drink, this is my experience. If you don't drink and you don't smoke, you can wake up off of maybe 6 hours and you still feel energized,
Yeah.
especially also if you're hydrated. That's a big thing.
So
So,
6 to 8 hours depending on your bad habits.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if you have those bad habits, you're gonna need more sleep because your body's recovering from that, what you just did to it.
Which most people will just give their body they'll be forced to sleep more. That explains a lot about my 20s.
Yeah, no, it is true. Yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna sleep.
yep. Be knocked out half the day.
Yeah, exactly. So how about diet? Let's get back to diet real quick. How about diet? What are some I know that you've done too. I know that you were vegan or not vegan, but at least vegetarian for a very long time.
I was vegan for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, vegan, straight vegan.
Yeah,
And I know that then you wanted to add some weight and you did start implementing more meats.
Yes. So I've done both, and I'm a huge advocate for eating meat.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of strength, I've never been as strong as I am because of the eating meat. And
Okay.
once I started eating meat, it sped up all my progress.
Do-
Um,
Okay, I just want to touch on something really quick because you know that the meat, vegan and meat, carnivores and vegan ones are like a big deal.
yeah, it's a
You
war.
know, it's
Yep.
like war on both sides, and I like that because you've really experimented them, and I know truly have.
Yeah,
Um, what are some of the pros and cons you would say about being a vegan
yeah.
and carnivore? What are some of the pros and cons on both sides if you want?
So when I was a vegan, my goal was not maximal strength. My goal was more, let's stay fit, and I want to be spiritually in tune.
Mm.
That was what my goal was. I had a spiritual experience, and I wanted to get a deeper understanding of things. So I noticed that all the monks and all the ascetic people were not eating meat. So I said, you know what? Let's see what power this has. So I would say, if you want to be more in tune, if you want to be more in tune, and you want to be a little more intuitive, then definitely the vegan way is a good way to go. I felt that my recovery was not the best though. I felt not not my strongest. I would say that. And then when it comes to eating meat, I think you get the best of both worlds because you can still be spiritual, and you can still live that life to an extent. Though that's the thing. There's levels to all these things. So you still have that realm, not as strong as the other, but then you're strong. You're just really strong. You gain weight. Your recovery is like, I don't know. I'll take I'll take maybe 2 days in between the handstand training, which I definitely could not do that when I was a vegan. I would have to really rest, 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 rest. And that kind of touches upon a big thing too. I started reaching my goals when I decided to rest instead of working out every single day and going hard every single day, which the whole it's hustle culture.
Yep.
Like, work harder, you get farther. And that
Mhm.
is true in some realms. But sometimes working harder is telling yourself, "Hey, I should I know I want to work out right now, but I shouldn't." And that is harder.
To
That
give your body time to recover from everything you just put it through.
Yes, because it's not easy. Like, you really have to have a strategy. You can't just go into it willy-nilly and
Mm.
expect anything to be changing.
I want to get back into the recovery, but I was intrigued by something you said about the foods,
Yeah,
and I like it because it went a little spiritual, and let's take this to another place for a
yeah.
second. Why do you feel that there's limits if you're eating meat that maybe you can surpass when you're vegan? What do you feel that contrast is that you were able to tap in? And when you say that, what are you talking about? Like meditating? What do you in a meditation aspect, or what were you feeling? What made you say that?
I feel like the limit is that all depends on what you believe in. So I believe in karma. I believe in reincarnation and those things of that nature.
Okay.
So if I'm believing that everything is connected and all those kinds of things, then if I'm consuming an animal that I didn't kill, that I don't know the conditions of it, I don't know, all of these things, I'm sure everybody's seen it where you're kind of taking on their karma,
Hmm.
and you're continuing the cycle of karma, because this thing had to die so you could live, which that's a reality even if you don't eat meat.
Right.
Something has to die so you can live. But there's that level of you're creating more karma for yourself, where you kind of want to stop the cycle of karma and just create life yourself. So you're not getting reactions anymore. You're just creating. If
Hmm.
that I don't know if I
Does
explained that.
that mean you're saying that you're just creating kind of when you're not eating the carnivore stuff? Usually.
You're minimizing your karma. That's the best way I could put it.
Got it.
You're minimizing it. You're lessening it at that.
Okay.
If you're not eating meat and you're going the vegan route, I had more spiritual experiences during that time. Powerful experiences that I couldn't explain. I attribute that to the diet and a couple other things.
Soul searching that you were doing at the time too, but
Yeah,
the diet you feel implemented and had a lot to do.
it had to be a big. It played a big role in it.
Got it.
That's my experience.
Okay. I just wanted to tap back into that because you mentioned that and I was like, oh, I wonder what he meant. So I like the clarity.
Yeah.
And you said something super raw. You said something has to die in order for you to live. Or so you said
Yeah.
that. That's deep. That's deep. We might name that. That might be the name of this podcast. That's deep. That's deep. That was awesome.
True. It's true. Yeah.
So let's get back into the fitness stuff a little bit, and then we're gonna wrap up in a sec. But
Yeah.
taking time to recover,
Yes.
definitely super important. So once you get your alignment right, once you got your routines right, you're really working out, you're eating right, being good to yourself and recovering. What does that look like for you nowadays? What are what does your workout and recovery kind of ratio look like?
So if I'm gonna work out today, right, and I'm gonna do a pretty hard workout. So I'll do like a bunch of sets of, if I'm practicing handstands, I'll do a bunch of sets upside down and just holding myself, which is definitely over time, it really fatigues you. I would take 1 to 2 days before I work out again, seriously, like a real workout.
Yep.
And in that time, I'm just eating as much as I can. That's for my goal. So I want to gain muscle. So I'm gonna fatigue the muscle, eat for 2 days, and then come back. It's hard to do 2 days straight of rest. 1 day definitely, but 2 days ideally. I don't know if you've ever heard of Mike Mentzner.
I feel like
Something like, so I think that's his last name, but he talks about training to failure and then recovering for a long time. So if you push yourself to its maximal effort, you can rest you don't have to train every single day.
Was he a bodybuilder?
To get those results. Yes, he was. And he was one of the greats.
Yep. And yeah.
He was kind of the opposite of Arnold, where Arnold was like work every single day, twice a day, that kind of thing, which it'll work if you're on steroids. But if you're not, for the regular average Joe,
you won't recover as fast.
You're not going to recover as fast, So, yeah, I would recommend probably a day or two in between to fully recover before you start breaking your muscle down again.
Nice. Last question for you. You mentioned your goal is to keep gaining weight or gain muscle, not weight.
Yeah.
Muscle.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that adds weight also.
Yes. Yeah. So I want to be, I've said 200 pounds, but I think 190 is a good spot for me.
Got it. Like height to ratio and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm thinking I want to get to 190.
Where you at right now?
I'm at 182.
Oh, you're very close. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you take creatine? And your thoughts on creatine?
I used to take creatine. I loved it. I did like it. I took I'm not sure the name. It has a really bad taste, but I got used to the taste. I actually really ended up liking it. I stopped doing it though. I am not, I like to do things naturally. I'm not saying anything bad about creatine. It's the most studied supplement, and there's a lot of benefits. But for me, I don't see a need.
Got it.
I mean, people have used it for muscle growth and strength. I didn't notice it wasn't a noticeable difference when I was using it, so I kind of just ditched it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Giovanni, you are a personal trainer. You're in uh where is that over there in New Jersey? Because like New York, right? Isn't it?
Uh, it is West New York,
New York.
Edgewater area, Weehawken, all those places,
Into
Hoboken.
Manhattan, like you're right across, right?
Yeah, mostly in Manhattan actually, but some over here in the Edgewater area.
Okay, beautiful. Where's a good place that people can find you at? What's your YouTube page? What's your Instagram?
So my Instagram is frequency of G, and my YouTube for tutorials is strictly fitness.
Strictly Fitness.
Strictly fitness. Yep.
It is at Strictly Fitness on YouTube.
So I believe it's at strictly.fitness.
Okay. Frequency of G, definitely on Instagram. Follow him. He does some cool tricks. Now I should have touched on that too. Just the fun that you're having out here with the soccer ball and like doing all the cool tricks. That's just a part of your workout and just like a part of like making it fun. Is that what
Yeah.
is that what that's all about?
Yes, for sure. That's another important aspect that I wanted to touch upon is that you have to do things you enjoy, you know. And when you're aligned, you feel so much freer to do those things. So the soccer is really just I enjoy it, and I like to kind of see what I can do, you know?
Yeah.
Like I like to challenge myself in that way, you know?
Are you gonna play? This is now just me. Now I'm going. That was my last question 5 questions ago. Are you gonna play any? You play on a team, or would you play on a team? Because I feel like you still got it, man.
I would. I don't know I don't know of any teams. I prefer I don't like being injured and having to sit out from the gym. So I don't always play sports with people cuz
Got it.
you never know. You're going to run into this guy who always steps on people's cleats. He's not thinking too much. He's.
Yep, and then you're gonna have a bum shoulder and not be able to work out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm
So
gonna actually do a workout today. I'm gonna do core legs because even if I got a bum shoulder, that doesn't got nothing to do with my lower body.
yeah, true. True. I'm glad to hear it.
Giovanni, definitely look him up. He's not only my personal trainer, also my nephew. That's where he gets his good looks from. So I love you, buddy. Thank you for joining us, guys. I
Love you
hope you
too.
enjoyed. This was a super dope one.
Definitely.
Definitely join us for the next one and much more. Thank you for being with us, bud.
Thanks for having me.
This is extraordinary. Can't ignore it. This my story. I've been more than ready.